Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the J Gemini. Today I actually wanted to go ahead and bring you a video on this little guy right here. This is an Olight I5R, I almost said T, EOS, so it's I5R EOS. And today I'm actually going to end up telling you why I was wrong initially about this light when I got it, and I was going to end up making a review. I'm glad I held off. And that's why it is kind of good to kind of let yourself wear into things when you get something. See how you like it over time. But before we get into what I like, love, dislike, and what's rubbish about this light, if it applies, let's go ahead and get some size comparisons out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and use some common EDC items. This is a QSP Penguin. A lot of people probably own this knife. If you don't, what are you doing? Stop right now. Stop right now. $30, tons of variations. Buy this knife. It is phenomenal. This thing has a better action than most of your $150 knives that run on bearings. It's incredible. So $30, but not talking about that. QSP Penguin out of the way, and your bench-made Reptilian, or in this case the Ritter Hogue. So as you can see, this is not a big light, and better a size comparison for most people who maybe aren't into knives, which again, what are you doing? But if you aren't, right, this is a standard, double A, sorry. So not too big, not too big. So now that we got that out of the way, the criticism of what are you doing, right, all that silliness, we're gonna go and jump right in. So what I like about this light, I might not do the exact light, love, all that stuff, but more so just talk about it. But I'm going to try and probably follow that still on this one. So this light looks great. It's got Olight's thing that they do where they take a light and they make it simple, but then they make a flare. Just something small on there that makes it look a little bit more clean. So they have this Helix grip, which I've always liked since they came out with it, and it is pretty simple. Also, they added this zigzag waveform pattern, whatever you want to call it, to the tail cap of the R, the rechargeable version of the i5T. Now, the i5T, when it came out, it was a light that I really didn't like. I just didn't get it. And with this light, it's definitely been something that's I got this for free. That's why I picked it up. I had enough Olight points saved up that I actually got this one for free, and in a color that I like, and it matches some of my EDC gear. So Orange Day, we carry that. But yeah, it's also very simple. I like that. Again, it doesn't have a million options. It's not super duper fancy. It's not like something like this Mini Pineapple where it has 4 modes, or this guy right here where you can literally have a disco in your pocket. This is just really simple, and this would be really great to go ahead and give as a gift for somebody, where that's what I was thinking about, disco in your pocket. So no, this guy is great because it's literally just one, so double tap. It's just 2 modes, right? You have sort of an indoor mode and a mode you can kind of use for the interior of like a car or something, and then you have more so like your outdoor mode. Really simple, really straightforward. I would like to see maybe a 3rd mode of this, like a moonlight, but again, it's really simple in that way. Gets you into the action right away. You really don't have to worry too much about it. And that's what makes it a great light, and why this is probably such a great gift light, which will kind of tie back in with some of the other things I'll talk about. The other thing is that this light has a reflector, and one of the things that I at first didn't like is it has a really floody reflector when you compare it to some of the other Olights like the S1R and the Warrior and things like that. This actually ends up having a much more domed shape with its reflector, and it just comes out to going ahead and producing a really wide Come on, brain. A really bright hotspot and then flood on the outside that is kind of all smooth and within each other. When you compare that to something like our, it's kind of similar in the way that the, the pineapple works, where you have this sort of faded out hotspot. My God, sorry, the coffee's wearing off. And then you have this, it sort of morph into the flood instead of such a defined hotspot, and then, you know, not too much flood on the outside. So as you can see, kind of comparing these side by side, and they have a very similar spread. Instead of it being so focused and then having like a secondary that's very light, that's a flood. So this is really great for EDC and short, not to drag that off and kind of forget that even happened. But yeah, it has a very great EDC reflector. Now, when I was using this, I'm like, well, with this reflector that is so floody, it's not enough throwing it, and it just doesn't, you know, over illuminate, you know, when I'm talking about outdoors. I have this test where I stand at the back of my house, have a pretty big yard, so I actually shoot in the back, and you know, that's kind of a test that I use to see what the range is. But you know, when you're used to something like this, where you can just oversaturate the living crap out of whatever you want to shoot at, you know, 2,000 to 4,000 lumens, I ended up going ahead and using this guy and learned, you know, basically this is more than enough, you know, for your EDC. This guy only uses about 250, and that only works for about 30 seconds. So really you're only getting about 90 lumens. So after carrying the mini pineapple, I really figured out that this is more than enough light and just great all around for EDC. So I really ended up going ahead and liking that. One thing that I do love about this light, moving on to that next, is the fact that more and more as I get into lights, I'm more and more straying away from these type of lights, although they definitely have their place, and I absolutely love this. You know, 18650, very specific, you know, light that you have to have a cradle charger and everything for, like this over here. You know, it's just, it's too much. So I'm going ahead and getting more into these more common battery type lights, which this falls into, you know, AAA right here. So AA, right? Now, when this came out, it doesn't use a 14500, which at first was another thing I misjudged about this light. It uses this sort of specialized AAA proprietary battery in a way that it's not like a normal AAA that uses like 1.5 volts. It uses 2.4 volts. So it definitely is more, but it doesn't use like the high-powered 3.7 volts is what I think it is of your 18650. However, they've actually ended up engineering this light where with the battery that's in it, it produces more power and gets longer you know, battery life than you would if you ended up going ahead and using other batteries. So Olight, you know, again, their lights might be basic, might be straightforward, simple, but at the same time, they are always working to engineer things and do a really great job. So the longevity of this light really grows. And the cool thing is that I love is, again, if you're in a pinch, if you traveled around the world and you went to Asia and Europe and, you know, wherever else, Africa, wherever, you could find AA if you couldn't charge this up with the USB Type-C, which is another bonus battery that's built right into the battery, and the head actually charges up. So as you can see, this is just your standard alkaline. You can also have a nickel metal hydride, this rechargeable guy. It doesn't matter. This thing just eats whatever you're going to go ahead and throw in it, which again just goes back to that. I just simply love it for that reason, because you don't have to worry. And again, you could gift this to anybody and then figure out how to get it back, you know, on the road running. The other thing that I really like, which Olight doesn't do a lot, is one of my biggest things. Although probably Moonlight's my biggest, or a very low lumen, my second biggest is temperature. So if we look here, this is a temperature of a, this is more of a cool white temperature. This is about 6 6,500 to 7,000 osram. In the same light, though, it also has two Nichia 219Bs, which is like a 4,000 lumens. So as you can see, here is the more white. This is more warm. Oh. And this is more a rosy colored pink. So they've actually cooled this down, or warmed this up a little bit, in short, right? They ended up going ahead and going from a much cooler light like this. Why am I? Like this, to a light that's more warm like this, in short. So the great thing about this is if you turn this on at its higher power of 5 lumens stock, and then 350, or maybe it's 10. Anyways, you know, if you turn that on, the first mode on in the middle of the night, because it's not a moonlight, it's very bright. But because it's warmer, it's not going to sting your eyes. But oh my God, and you know, completely just destroy everything and be uncomfortable. You could actually turn this on, and although it will be bright for a second, whoa, it's not going to also burn your eyes on top of that, because it does have that warmer LED in it, which I definitely apply to Olight 4, because they more and more need higher CRI and warmer K range LEDs in their lights. So definitely good on you there, Olight. And another reason why I was wrong about this. Of course, the other things just sort of fall into what Olight does best. It just works. You know, they have their warranty. You know, if something's wrong, you contact their customer service. It has the Z-clip. You can go ahead and use this as a headlamp, which I've even done before, because of the spill as well, and because it's aluminum, it's lightweight. The battery that comes with it, lithium polymer, it's, you know, lightweight as it is, lighter than an alkaline, so that's also good. You know, just all the little nuances and everything. This light doesn't look tactical, aggressive. It's just simple. You know, has a cool little design. Again, keeping it simple, but just doing things with a little bit of a twist. Negatives about this light, you know, I would say that the tail cap is pretty firm to press, when this is more like clicky, and this is more clicky. It's not bad. It's just got a longer throw and is pretty firm. So unlike some of these lights, which I'll use in different ways, you know, that this is pretty much just using your thumb. You know, either the meat of your thumb or right on the heel. You could do this, but again, it's a little bit too firm to be able to do this comfortably. You could hold it like this, but again, because it's kind of blocky and it doesn't have a waist to it, like these two lights over here, again, it's just more so used like this. You could hold it like this, but even that's not super duper comfortable when it compares to other, you know, Tailswitch clicky lights, which is why I've gotten into tail click so much more than a side light, because there is that versatility to be able to go ahead and use in different ways. And with this, because it's so firm, it just, you know, it just makes it kind of a one-trick pony in that way. I would like to see the 14500 option, and maybe see it at 400, and then maybe them recommend use the battery that they came with to sort of get the best of both worlds, and then also use the AAA. And a dream world, right, make it happen right now, Olight would come out with a Pro range, right? And then on their IT Pro would basically have a 14500 be minutely longer, you know, again, be able to go ahead and, you know, run that, and then have a moonlight, and then the standard 2 modes that are in this, or maybe even a higher brightness. But again, it's just one of those things that it's kind of like the 911, right? Where it's not complete revolution, it's evolution, right? From the R to, for the T to the R, right? They made small incremental changes, but overall, you know, they shaved off 15 seconds off the Nürburgring time, right? They ended up going ahead and just knocking this out. They extended the life. They made a warmer LED, right? They made it where it's still really a monster in going ahead and taking any type of battery out there. So it's great for EDC in that way. You know, again, hats off. Where I was underwhelmed and I didn't really get it, I don't mind throwing this in, you know, my pocket from time to time as a light that I like to carry, right? It's my most carried Olight at this point, because the other ones that you have to press and hold and it's slow to cycle through, you know, the 4 double tap to turn. This is almost like a refresher where it's like, let me get in the action right now. Boom, I know I'm in. Okay, I know I'm in high right now. Okay, now I know I'm in low. Just get to, you know, using the light instead of, okay, I digress. So it's a great light. It's a great light. I would definitely recommend, if you don't have a tail clicky light, you want to throw something in a pack, right? You want to get this as a gift. Just, yeah, it's not even that expensive too, which is great. They're like $30, $35 for a pretty decent light that you know is going to last. Just well done. That's really all I have to say about this guy. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, as well as comment down below. Of course, go ahead and hit subscribe and hit that little bell, as I do end up going ahead and uploading more and more content. I want you to be able to see it and you know, kind of join in and everything in the community. Of course, I can't thank you enough for taking time to go ahead and watch this video, and there's so many other great content creators, and you viewed my video today as well. So I really appreciate that. As well, you can go ahead and head over to Instagram, follow me there if you want to go ahead and see what I'm doing, or hit me up on some of the Discord channels as well of other popular YouTubers as well in the EDC space. Of course, I hope everybody ends up having a great rest of your day. Take care. Peace.